Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Web3 Deep Dive Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Wolfson. In today's episode, I'll be speaking with Jeff Yin. He is the CEO and founder of Merlin Chain. I'm so excited for this interview because today we're speaking all about Bitcoin DeFi, Bitcoin Layer 2s, how it's Bitcoin Layer 2 summer. So you guys are going to learn all about that. And it's just a super interesting and relevant topic. Okay, without further ado, let's get started with today's episode. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Great. A little bit tired, but yeah, fine.
Yeah, well, I know there's a big time difference. You're in Singapore and I'm in the United States, so I can understand why you're tired. But we really appreciate you coming on the show today, so thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
appreciate it.
yeah, we do also. So, Jeff, before we get started, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved in the crypto space.
Yeah, okay. So actually, Merlin is my first project in Web3. We started doing that last year, so it's my first experience in Web3 industry. But I've been working, in Web2 for like 12 years. I started my first company back in 2012, and we grew that company from myself to 3,000 employees, which is great. But the thing is, like the main investor of that company, they also invested in Coinbase and Ripple at that time. So they introduced me about, Bitcoin, blockchain, back in 2013. Yeah, and I got attracted to that idea like at that time. So I started buying Bitcoin, and all my friends, like most of my friends, are in crypto like industry after that. During the ICO in 2016, 2017, DeFi summer, NFT, GameFi. So I basically like experienced all this revolution of crypto of blockchain. Bought a lot of like a lot of tokens, made some money. So I was like always very interested in crypto, but I was doing like stuff in Web2, so I cannot, do anything in Web3 at that time. But last year when we saw, Bitcoin Ordinals, like I say, yeah, I love Ordinals. Like when I saw this concept, so I joined this, built like very like cool stuff, built like lots of dApps on Bitcoin Layer 1, and then built Merlin Chain, last year by the end of last year.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Merlin Chain. So, what is Merlin Chain?
Yeah, Merlin chain is like a EVM compatible chain for Bitcoin assets. So that I think that's the easiest way to understand it. So basically, when you have Bitcoin on layer one, you can bridge that Bitcoin to Merlin and to have ERC20 a standard version of Bitcoin. And also, we accept all these assets from ordinals, from NFT, from runes. So users can bridge those assets to Merlin and have much better liquidity to have much better user experience, lower gas fee, faster, transaction time on Merlin. So that is, the basic concept of Merlin chain. But we are very different from other Bitcoin layer twos in my mind, and we won't bring these like liquidities, communities, users, assets onto Merlin, and build DeFi, build games here, build cool stuff here, and that's like our main mission about building Merlin chain.
Got it. So making Bitcoin fun again. I see that's like all over the website, and I think it's one of the goals of Merlin Chain. Is that correct?
Yeah, because like we didn't like think about building like assets at first. When we start building ordinals like was so small. I would say like 99% of people in crypto thought ordinals, is a joke. I was so afraid to tell my friends in Singapore that I was building ordinals. So we didn't think about money, we didn't think about assets, anything, but just having fun. Like how to have fun in ordinals. Like we built like lots of on-chain content. Like this is not happening on Ethereum because every content on Ethereum is not on chain. But in Bitcoin, it's different. So we build like decentralized on-chain forum. We build decentralized, on-chain email systems. So everything you send is on Bitcoin. And also we build like on-chain game engine, metaverse for Bitmap, and also we build like modular content protocol, which is called BRC420. So yeah, so like all these things we build is free to use on layer one. Like we didn't have any revenue or income, so we were trying to make like to make this cool stuff, like fun things to happen on Bitcoin layer one, and that's like the goal of Merlin. So I think we are taking a very different approach, and we are just not trying to make this great, but trying to make it fun.
Got it. So let's back up a little bit because I want the listeners to fully understand what we're talking about. I'm sure most of the listeners are already familiar with Bitcoin Layer 2s and ordinals and runes, but Let me ask you, what are ordinals, just for people who may be unfamiliar with that?
Yeah, in my mind, Ordinals is about to inscribe or you just put content in the Bitcoin block. So you can inscribe an image, a video, audio, or just text, and this content will be staying on Bitcoin chain forever. And then people are starting to use this technology, this protocol to inscribe NFTs, to inscribe fungible tokens, which is like BRC20, and that is what happened last year. And before last year, Bitcoin Layer 1 doesn't have this kind of functions to launch assets, to have content. And I think that's the huge difference.
So why are we seeing it this year and not last year? And we're also seeing a big rise of Bitcoin Layer 2s in general.
Yes, I think we have millions of assets on Bitcoin Layer 1, and there are millions of users are trading those assets. Of course, they want a better place to trade them because for example, in April, when the Bitcoin halving happened, the gas fee was like 1,000, 2,000, which means if you buy a stock, you have to pay like $100 or $200 to trade these assets. But most assets are much less than $100. So you're paying like 2 times, 3 times higher gas fee to buy some stuff which is low value. This just doesn't make sense. And also, if you don't have smart contracts on layer 1, you cannot, provide liquidity. You cannot have DeFi protocols and dApps there. So that's why, there are lots of Bitcoin layer 2s coming up. So I think like there are actual user need there to trade these assets, to have much better liquidity for these assets. That's why we have all these Bitcoin layer 2s right now.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about runes because I found that so interesting. I wrote a great article about it for Cointelegraph and Crypto News. Um, so yeah, how did runes come about and why were the gas fees, the Bitcoin gas fees so high because of runes?
Yeah, I mean the gas fee was very high last year too for the BRC20 and Ordinals. So basically there's like a new asset fair launching on layer 1, and all these users are trying to get the assets, so they have to participate in this gas war. And that's what happened with the runes. And fungible tokens is always where FOMO happens. So when you have a fungible token protocol, which is runes, and some people think runes is more elegant, is more efficient, is like has more advantages comparing to BRC20. And when you see BRC20 have all these $1 billion market cap tokens like Ordinals sets, of course people have all this expectation for runes tokens. That's why when this protocol launched, like everybody was inscribing, minting, like all this kind of stuff in the runes protocols. And yeah, I think that's basically what happened before.
Right. And I think it was really good for the Bitcoin miners, right? That those gas fees were high. But I was reading today on a publication, I think it was Unchained, that now the gas fees for runes have now that just like the fees are much, much lower and like runes might just be hype. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think first for any fungible token protocol, there's always ups and downs. There's always like hype, and that's just what happened with meme coins. The second thing is I think the paradox there is when people have the energy or FOMO like emotion to trade, the gas fee is high, which stops people trading these assets. Which is, I think that is just like very hard. And right now the gas fee is like super, super low. And people don't have, the FOMO like thing to trade those assets, and the gas fee is low. So every time, the gas fee is high, the market is back, the cost is just higher. That's why, I think trading these assets on Bitcoin Layer 1 doesn't really make sense.
Got it. Okay. And do you think the runes protocol, do you think runes are just kind of like they were hyped up and like maybe it's a trend that will go away? Or do you think that we'll continue to see that?
Yeah, I think to me, I have more, history with BRC20. So of course, personally, I love BRC20 more. But to be honest, I think Runes is a great protocol. I don't think, it will just fade away. I don't think, yeah, I think Runes is going to do the same thing that BRC20 has accomplished. But of course, it needs time. And the second thing is, launching new assets on Bitcoin Layer 1 is always, a trend. I don't think it will, stops like this year or next year. I think it will always be there. But still, I think there are lots of, problems or questions need to be answered for Runes or for BRC20. People cannot have like a million meme tokens on layer one and just like hope every one of them will, the price will go up. This just doesn't make sense. I think the liquidity on Bitcoin layer one is not enough.
Right. Let's talk about Bitcoin DeFi. This is a really interesting concept. And, with the rise of layer twos, we're seeing Bitcoin DeFi. So, in your opinion, what is Bitcoin DeFi? Like, what are the use cases and what are the use cases that you're excited about?
Yeah, I think Bitcoin DeFi is a very general concept, right? Like lots of things you can call them DeFi. So first, like DEX, people cannot trade as easy as like Uniswap, like on Bitcoin layer one. But when you go to like Merlin or any other Bitcoin layer two, the DEX is just like a new innovation to these Bitcoin like users. Like we ran into like all these kinds of like questions from users, like how to add a new token, what's the token contract, how to provide liquidity. So like these users are like they're very new. But actually, they love trading these assets on layer two. So like for the data, I think in the past 2 months, Merlin Swap, they had over $800 million valued trading volume, and also right now they have over $100 million valued, the TVL there. So the users like they're very actively trading these assets. So for example, for the runes, like the liquidity, the trading volume here on Merlin is much higher than the layer one marketplace. So I think if you provide liquidity, if you just like participate in these stacks, of course you will have this like yields like for your assets. But if you hold these assets on layer one, it doesn't give you any yield. And yeah, so second thing is about yield. For the past like several years, Ethereum holders, Ethereum whales, they have lots of native yields, coming from the POS, coming from like this like staking, restaking, LRT, LSD. So all this kind of stuff happen, with the Ethereum, and these holders they actually make money by holding Ethereum. But for Bitcoin, it's different. Like think about if you have like 10 Bitcoin or 100 Bitcoin in your wallet, it doesn't give you any yield, right? So basically, you have to wait for the price to go up and sell the Bitcoin, and then wait for the price to go down to buy more. That's what happened with Bitcoin for the past decade. But right now, we're actually bringing the yields for Bitcoin holders. That's what Merlin is doing right now. So first, if you bridge Bitcoin, from layer one to Merlin, and you stake that Bitcoin to Merlin POS systems, you can have yield. And the second thing is like for the Merlin sale, people have over 150% APY by staking Bitcoin to get Merlin token. The second thing is like right now we're working with Stakestone. We're working with Solve protocol, which is a LRT protocol, a liquid restaking token for Bitcoin. So they will give another yield for like another layer of yield for that protocol tokens. And the next thing is right now we announced our partnership with Babylon. So you will have another yield with participating in the Babylon program. And of course, you can do the funding rate, something like Ethereum, but Bitcoin version of Ethereum, which gives you 10 to 20% of APY by holding this Bitcoin. And then you can bridge this, or you can use this Bitcoin to other protocols, to other ecosystems. Like right now, Merlin Bitcoin and Soft Bitcoin, we are bridging them to Nina, to Scroll, to Arbitrum, to Ethereum, to zk-Link, to Mod, to all these other Bitcoin, Ethereum layer twos or layer ones to have to gain the yields from that chain, to get points from that chain. So basically, when we have one Merlin Bitcoin, you will have lots of layers of yields, and if you combine all of them, you will have much better, like profits. Comparing holding Bitcoin on Bitcoin layer one, and that is happening. And I can tell you some numbers here. So first in the past 45 days, over $13 billion value Bitcoin has bridged in and bridged out in the Merlin bridge, which is higher than most exchanges, just after Binance and Coinbase. The second thing is there are over $700 million value Bitcoin from Merlin Chain distributed to other chains like Nina, like Scroll, like all these other Ethereum layer one, layer twos. So I think this is happening, and we're trying to get these yields for the users and also for the holders.
Got it. So my question is this. If I hold Bitcoin and I wanted to earn yield on my Bitcoin through Merlin, and I'm in the United States, can I do that here?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so how would I do that?
Yeah. So first, you use our Merlin bridge to bridge one Bitcoin to Merlin. So you will lose that Bitcoin on layer one, and you will get a ERC20 version of Bitcoin on Merlin, right? And then you stake that Bitcoin into Merlin POS uh, mechanism to get a Merlin Bitcoin, which is something like STETH. And you already have that Bitcoin, and then it will give you the yields from the network fees. And the next thing is you can stake that Merlin Bitcoin again into Solve protocol, which is an ART solution, and to get soft Bitcoin. And then you can use soft Bitcoin to do all these DeFi things on Merlin Chain or on other chains. And also you can do CDFI, something like Ethereum, by getting funding rates for that Bitcoin. And something after that is your like own choice. You can provide LP for perp DEX. The perp DEX on Merlin Chain has over 400 million dollar value Bitcoin trading volume. So you can provide liquidity for perp DEX. You can provide liquidity for lending. You can bridge that Bitcoin to Linear to participate in their program called Linear Surge, to get points and future Linear tokens. So yeah, so like everything after that is something like Ethereum has done before.
Okay, got it. So some of these Bitcoin DeFi use cases are resembling Ethereum, like just DeFi use cases then.
Yes, I think we're catching them. It's I don't think that means lack of innovation, to be honest, because like when you see like the mobile phone coming up, it's just something similar as like the computer, right? You can browse like internet on your mobile phone, you can listen to music on your mobile phone, but like eventually, I think it will grow into different paths. But the thing is, like lending or DEX, that is something happened in TriFi before. So I think all these infras, all these fundamental DeFi applications, of course, will firstly be adopted. But after that, we don't know. I mean, it's just like very early start for Bitcoin ecosystem.
Right. But so far you're saying that you're seeing a lot of users and people using Merlin for Bitcoin DeFi use cases, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's also interesting, and I've thought about this, and I just, and maybe this is a silly question. So when I first got into Bitcoin and, BlockFi was a thing, um, before it went under. I had some Bitcoin on BlockFi and I was earning yield on that. But I guess this is significantly different than that because there's just so many more use cases versus like just having, your Bitcoin on a platform like BlockFi and earning yield from it that way. Like the way the use cases that you described, it seems like you can earn a lot more from your Bitcoin now.
Yeah, I think because before there's no like on-chain dApps for Bitcoin assets or holders. So I think generated yields is more like I don't know. Like I participate in many Bitcoin yield Ponzi in the past decade. To be honest, I lost like lots of my Bitcoin to join like different programs and stuff. But right now, when you see all this, like if you search on Twitter, you can see all kinds of Bitcoin DEX, Bitcoin lending protocol, Bitcoin DeFi protocol. So if you check them, they're running like pretty well with the users with TVLs, and so then you can see okay, Bitcoin will eventually has the functionality of Ethereum that has before. So I think that's just the first step. But it's still very early. Just think about Bitcoin as like 2018 version of Ethereum, and there are lots of things are coming.
Right, right. It's also interesting to see that someone mentioned on Twitter or X that Bitcoin DeFi is actually driving more interest to Bitcoin in general because people are kind of playing around with Bitcoin and they're like, oh, this is actually a great asset to hold. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, of course. Like I have lots of friends in US, like they're holding crypto, and when I ask them, they only have Ethereum. They don't even have Tether, Circle, or Bitcoin because they knew about crypto in the NFT era, so they buy lots of Ethereum to trade NFTs and other stuff. And these users, they will never buy Bitcoin, if like we don't have this kind of thing for them. But right now, there are like lots of new users, like the NYC NFT event. There are lots of users trying to understand how Bitcoin works, how Bitcoin Layer 2 works, and how to provide liquidity, buy assets using Bitcoin. So I think this will definitely like drive more users to adopt Bitcoin.
Yeah, definitely. But Jeff, I wanted to ask you about the challenges with Bitcoin Layer 2. So, what are the main challenges? Are they like scalability or, user experience?
Yeah, I think there are always like lots of challenges when you build something new, and I think the first challenge is I would say bias, like lots of people think Bitcoin layer 2 doesn't make sense because they think Bitcoin doesn't have layer 2. And I will address that, in a technical way later. But the thing is, to me, I think this is more like a political problem because layer 2 is not like like layer 2, this term doesn't really exist before, right? It's not like, Earth, Moon, like all these like objects. But layer 2 is something like invented by this blockchain, by this Ethereum stuff. So this is not a fact or anything. And because Bitcoin layer 1 doesn't have smart contract, so Bitcoin right now cannot have a real layer 2. That's the fact because it cannot settle on Bitcoin layer 1. So I think first challenge is this. So like whenever Bitcoin has this kind of smart contract on layer 1, yes, then we can have like real layer 2s. But right now, everyone is sidechain. We said that from day one, Merlin Chain is a sidechain. But when everybody else is branding with layer 2s, we cannot, call ourselves sidechain because like everyone is doing the layer 2 kind of concept. The second challenge is because Bitcoin layer 1 doesn't have ability to settle these kind of things from layer 2 transactions, so you have to multi-sig all these assets, which you can think is it's more like a custodial kind of thing. So no matter Merlin or B Square or BitLayer or any other Bitcoin layer 2s, they are doing this multi-sig kind of thing. But with multi-sig, people can address this, in much better or fancy terms. But by the end of the day, it's multi-sig. So I think the security issues of the assets is very important because if there's something bad happened, you will lose these assets and you will never find them. So I do think every layer 2 is facing these problems. Like Merlin Chain, we had like $4 billion TVL before, and we have like I said, $13 billion like bridging and bridge out, and we encountered zero security issues because like from day one we are working with Fireblocks, Kobo, Seifu, like anti-alpha, like all these NPC solutions who has great reputation and who has like experience dealing with billions of dollars at first place, and we don't really trust like a simple multi-sig, from several parties, because if something happened, the users will lose their assets. So I think the security issues is like the second thing, like second challenge that people are facing. I think a third thing is, to get real assets onto your chain to trade them, because like if you go on Arbitrum or like any other Ethereum layer twos, yeah, they're like Ethereum stable coins, meme coins. So the assets are already there. They're already like billions of dollars of all these assets are there. But for Bitcoin, like just imagine right now today, you are starting a new Bitcoin layer 2. What kind of assets you want to bring to your chain, right? But you cannot only bring Bitcoin. If you only bring Bitcoin and the like stable coins, this just doesn't make sense. Because if you want to trade Bitcoin, you can go to Coinbase or Binance, which is like the easiest way. And I would say like the best Bitcoin layer 2s for trading Bitcoin. So you have to bring like variety of assets to your chain, like runes, like BRC20, like atomicals, like ordinals. And in order to do that, it's very hard. Like I would say right now, we are still the only Bitcoin layer 2 who can bridge runes, ordinals, BRC20s to our chains. And we have over like $100 million value of these assets in our chain. That brings users here to trade them. So I think bring the right assets to your chains and to build actual products and the actual ecosystems there. I think that's like the last, but also the biggest challenge for long term.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, yeah, and I do think the security challenges, I mean, that's always, an issue, but it's good to know that you're working with Fireblocks and others to help with that. So, um, do you think that Bitcoin DeFi will eventually be used by enterprises? Right now I think we're just seeing like users and retail investors, but do you think institutions will ever use Bitcoin DeFi?
To be honest, first, we are working with over 10 institutions on Money right now. They're, participating in the Bitcoin DeFi with us. They're giving, like millions of dollars to do this. So first, I think institutions, they are more than happy to do that because the reason is Bitcoin is actually cheaper than Ethereum. What does that mean? That means right now, if we want to, get Ethereum from institutions or from users, it's very hard because it has all kinds of yields and they are making money by having Ethereum. And you have to promise them a much higher yields to get that Ethereum from them, right? Which is risky for you because like people cannot accomplish that. But for Bitcoin, imagine you are an institution who has like 5,000 Bitcoins in your wallet. You have zero yields there. So it's gonna be much easier for a team like us to convince you, okay, can you like relocate like 50, 100, 500 Bitcoins into our solutions because we'll give you like 10% APY, which is higher than your, before Bitcoin has like 2% APY. So that's why I said Bitcoin is cheaper to get comparing to Ethereum. So I think there are lots of more institutions that are trying to, participate in this BTC DeFi kind of revolution.
Yeah, that's interesting. Good to know. So Jeff, what can we expect next from Merlin? I mean, how I mean, how can Bitcoin layer twos advance moving forward as well?
Yeah, I think uh, there are lots of things to address. First, like I said, keep upgrading the technology. So, like this Friday, we're upgrading our mainnet, lower the gas fee, increase the TPS, and also like we are still the only team who are doing the DK rollups with our layer twos. So I think keep upgrading, keep improving the technology here, to solve the security issues, to making the network more trustless, more decentralized. That is something I think every team is trying to to do for the later 3 years, 5 years, or even more. The second thing is to bring liquidity to layer two because I think, like I said, the users on Bitcoin layer one, they want liquidity. They want faster transactions. They want lower gas fees, and this need is real. Like I said, like when the gas fee is high, that means market is hot. But the gas fee is high, that stops people trading. Imagine you are using a central exchange when the market is hot, the transaction is super slow and super expensive. That exchange will go bankrupt, of course. So this problem needs to be solved and bring these assets to layer twos to solve these liquidity issues. And I mean, it sounds easy, but to be honest, I don't think there are any Bitcoin layer twos are actually solving this right now because they don't have the bridge for these Bitcoin related assets. And also the last and most important thing, a long-term thing, is to bring native yields for Bitcoin because Bitcoin holders doesn't have that before, and they're more than happy. They're very eager to have these kind of yields for holding Bitcoin, and which I mean, of course, in a very secure, very trustless way. So bring Bitcoin to EVM, bring Bitcoin to all these Bitcoin layer twos, the Ethereum layer twos, layer ones, and to bring this liquidity, to bring these yields for these holders and users. I think these are the major tasks we are trying to to get down in the later month years.
So Jeff, I'd be curious to see how, Merlin actually works if a user had like some Bitcoin on Coinbase or Binance, how they would actually get that over to Merlin and start, doing Bitcoin DeFi. Could you show us by chance?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is like our website. You go to the bridge and you connect with the wallet. So I'm using a Unisat wallet, and this gives you like the address. You just withdraw your Bitcoin from Coinbase, Binance to this wallet, and then you can see Bitcoin to Merlin or backwards Merlin to Bitcoin. So it's like Bitcoin bridge. You can just put like one Bitcoin, and then you click bridge, and that's it. It's like very simple and easy. And when you have Bitcoin on layer twos, you can go to the Merlin swap to do the swap, like the DEX swapping. You can choose like different tokens and stuff, something like what happens in Ethereum before. This is like the NFT marketplace. You can buy all these Bitcoin layer one assets from the NFT marketplace. This is like the perp DEX. They're trading like BTC, Ethereum, Merl, BNB. You can trade perp here by connecting the wallet. And this is like the solve, which is the RRT solution. Right now, there's like 15,000 Bitcoin staked. You can stake that Bitcoin to do this like restaking, bridging to other chains and stuff. So I think it's pretty easy. Yeah, just bridge Bitcoin from Bitcoin to Merlin.
Got it. Yeah, no, I think it, it looks a bit complex, but then again, I'm not, so I do think that user experience and all of that is really, really important. But then again, I'm not actively participating in Bitcoin DeFi, but it's definitely a concept that I'd be interested in learning more about, which is why I wanted to actually see it in action. So that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Um, yeah. So Jeff, do you think this is the summer for Bitcoin layer twos? Or are we going to start seeing more and more of these emerge?
Uh, like I don't predict, the future. I build this just because I personally have needs to trade stuff. So I don't think, some timing matters here, but I think we do see a trend here. The trend is people are like very crazy about building assets, issuing tokens on Bitcoin layer one. That's trend one. The second trend is there are many great builders from the west, from the east to build Bitcoin DeFi, Bitcoin layer twos, Bitcoin staking, restaking, AVS. So like there are lots of builders to come here. So of course, I think after a while, probably we will all see like more innovative stuff for Bitcoin. And I don't think Bitcoin is like the biggest, also still like the longest crypto token here. And build something here is it's definitely cooler, much cooler to build something in other altcoins. So yes, I think Bitcoin does have the influence and also the tractions for all these users. And like I think Merlin actually brings up the heat, in the beginning of this year that everyone is talking about Bitcoin layer twos after February.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting, and it's been interesting to see how Bitcoin has evolved over the years. So I've been in the industry since 2017, and it's so interesting to see that people are building on Bitcoin now.
Yeah, and also like we have like lots of like crazy ideas to be honest, because putting content on Bitcoin layer one to me is very cool because I don't trust my content in Google, in Amazon, or in Fire like the Filecoins because you cannot have content on Ethereum chain, but you can have this kind of content uncensored, decentralized on Bitcoin. Just imagine like if I want to record my personal like bio data, like my palm or my my eyes. I can like encrypt like this kind of information using my Bitcoin wallets and put this content on Bitcoin forever, and nobody can touch it, and nobody can erase it, nobody can delete it. So I think like using Bitcoin layer one as a storage chain is also a very cool idea. So I do think that there's like lots of potential, using Bitcoin than before.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I never thought about that. Um, and even using like a Bitcoin wallet as like your user identity, is that kind of what you were hinting at?
Yes, because like this is like the most trusted place to store my data. I don't trust any other like place to store my data.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, well, I'm excited for the future, definitely to see more of these use cases evolve. Jeff, I know we're running out of time, so are there any additional comments that you want our listeners to know about that we didn't already talk about?
Yeah, I think to me, I think people should be patient. Like when we see Ethereum in 2017 and people bring up the idea of layer twos, many people laugh it. And even, when we have Ethereum, many Bitcoin users laughed at this kind of idea, right? They think Bitcoin is all we need. We don't need Ethereum. So that's why the Ethereum token price is so low at that time. And, after years and years, we have Polygon, the plasma kind of mechanism, and we have OP rollups and we have ZK rollups. After like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, we finally, getting close to this layer twos, ideas actually work right now with all these DK chains and stuff. But Bitcoin is very new. Last year we just have these assets on Bitcoin layer one, and right now we're building scaling solutions. We're building DeFi for Bitcoin, and many people criticize this Bitcoin kind of innovation, but to me it's very early. Look at this. After 5 years, you will see like here right now is where like this started. So just be patient. Don't struggle with terms. Don't struggle with what should be done or like what has been done by Ethereum before. Just look at this as the new stuff and just like every builder just should like build together and like we said, make Bitcoin fun again.
Definitely. Yeah, I love that. Make Bitcoin fun again. So, Jeff, this has been a wonderful conversation. If our listeners want to get in touch with you or if they want to start using Merlin, how should they do that? Should they go to X or should they reach out on LinkedIn?
Yeah, go to X. There's a Merlin Layer 2 handle, and there's also another one called Bitmap Tech, which are both our official X account. And feel free to go to our website, join our Discord. And I'm on Twitter Space every day. I'm spending like 3 or 4 hours on Twitter Space every day. So always feel free to go there, raise your hand and ask me anything.
What is your Twitter handle, your X handle?
Bitmap Tech.
Bitmet. Okay, cool. Awesome. That's great. So, Jeff, thank you again for joining us. I know it's late for you in Singapore, so I'm going to let you go. And I can't wait to, to connect with you in person, maybe at Bitcoin Nashville. I think you said you'll be there, so hopefully I'll get to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Special thanks to 4 Labs Digital for producing Web3 Deep Dive podcast. I'd also like to thank the sponsors behind Web3 Deep Dive. You can click the links in the show notes to learn more about each of the Web3 initiatives from these sponsors. Finally, thanks to the listeners for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. I'll see you guys next time.